What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben and welcome back to the All at Sea group build. This is episode number 5 for our A6M2-N roof, and this is really going to get cracking today, guys. Now, last episode we took care of the float, took care of the wings, got everything kind of lined up, sanded down, gun ports are drilled out. We also went to work on the engine, painted up some push rods, dry brush stuff. We are looking beautiful on that. The wing pylons are also finished off, sanded down, ready for installation, which is awesome. And we went ahead and finished off the fuselage, enclosed the cockpit, got everything kind of squared away, and also widened the bottom area here with a couple of toothpicks. We really wanted to make sure that we had a good seam right here where the wings attached to the fuselage, and I think with those additions it really helped. We're looking pretty decent. So today I want to go ahead and move on now to the wings. I want to get those installed. I want to work on that back tail and get those back ailerons installed as well, because the main part of today's episode, guys, is I really want to get the base more or less kind of set up so that we can move forward with the resin casting and all of that good stuff. So real quick, guys, I want to go ahead and throw those wings on, glue everything down, and put on the rear ailerons, and let's see where we go from there. All right, everybody, so now that the wings are on, we'll let those dry off camera, and we're going to move on to the base. Now, this is the wooden base that I've decided to use. This is basswood. It's not really that crazy. It's not really sanded or finished. We can do that ourselves, but I didn't want to do any of that until after I go ahead and place the aircraft and kind of get an idea about how I want the waves and all that good stuff. Now, the aircraft is going to go something kind of asymmetrical, kind of catty corner a little bit. I don't want it really parallel. I want it kind of an angle, and I would like to kind of pitch it back, maybe pitch it off to the side or something to give it a little bit of character. That's kind of my goal here. So for the base, we're actually going to be using this. This is plastilina clay. It comes in these kind of pre-cut sections, and this is non-hardening modeling clay. And my plan for this really, guys, is to go ahead and arrange that in kind of a flowing pattern just by taking bits and pieces and just kind of place them together and then make a seascape out of this stuff. And then taking the aircraft and then positioning the floats kind of where they're supposed to go. We're going to then map out kind of where we want it on the board. We're going to kind of press it in, rock it back and forth, that aircraft sitting where we want it, and then we're going to be able to place the side floats, and really, this should be a lot of fun. Now, quick disclaimer, everybody, I've actually never used any sort of modeling clay before, so I have no idea how to do this, but I've been watching a lot of videos online, and I've been really enjoying Scalaton's videos, and this is kind of what he did, so I'm just going to give it a shot. So we've opened up the package. You can see, yeah, it's definitely clay. We've got some latex gloves here. We're going to be using that so we don't leave fingerprints all in the clay itself. And we're just going to rip off a big chunk of this, and we're just going to start placing it down on the wooden board. Now, this is non-hardening, so we can always kind of make changes. It should be not necessarily super supple, but we can make changes once we kind of get it all kind of squared away. So let's go ahead and rip off a big chunk here, just start placing. And we're just going to start up here, I don't know, in the corner, and we're just going to work kind of from the corner out and then across the board. I think that's going to be a good place to start. This stuff, first off, I got to tell you, this stuff smells amazing. It actually kind of smells like vanilla. I don't know what it is. It smells like you could just chow down on this and eat it. It really smells good. But aside from that, we're just going to go ahead and start here in the corner. It seems to be very pliable, very workable, but it also has a bit of rigidity to it, if that makes any sense at all. Having never used this stuff before, I don't know if that's normal for plastilina clay. I really have no idea. But honestly, I think this is going to go well. So we're going to go ahead and throw a time lapse in here, guys, because it's going to be a lot of fidgeting and kind of manipulating clay and trying to get a base kind of set up the way I want it. I'm not really looking to make any shapes right now. I just kind of want to spread it out and see where it falls and see what it looks like. So let's go ahead and attempt to cover this whole base with plastilina clay. Well, all right, we have the base more or less set up, and I have an idea of where I want the aircraft, and we kind of want it pitched back and off to the left side. I think that's going to be really awesome. We'll go ahead and bury one of the floats kind of in the clay itself, and the center float, we'll kind of press that down, make sure that we have some kind of waves coming up off the side of that. I think it'll look pretty neat, at least I'm hoping, because I don't want it just sitting flat. I want to have it look a little bit like it's an action, like there's something moving, like the water is actually, some form of entity itself. I really want to convey that meaning of movement. I don't know if I'm going to succeed with that, but hey, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Now we also have to kind of build up some of the water elements kind of around the center float and around the left wing float. So we're going to take a little bit of clay and we're going to kind of make almost like a bow wake. Since this is up in the northern Pacific Ocean area, I hear that's not friendly territory, that those waves are pretty rough. So I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of movement, a lot of action. This stuff actually moves and molds very, very well. Honestly, it seems super simple to go ahead and mold and sculpt with this. I think it would be a very good product for someone who's interested in sculpting. We're also going to add a little bit of extra clay around the wing float, because I want to also kind of embed that down in the water as if it's kind of pitching and listing off to the left side. This is actually just built up layer upon layer, so I've got some work to do for sure. I think this is coming along well though, I honestly do. And it's actually a lot of fun too. Now looking closer here on the board, I've zoomed in a little bit and you can see that I'm forming this kind of wave. And I don't want it to be perfectly flat. I want it having a lot of undulation, in the base. I want to have a lot of dips and peaks and valleys and all sorts of really neat looking movement. I don't know if this is going to turn out, guys. I really don't know, but it's just a lot of fun. So even if it doesn't turn out, it is actually a heck of a lot of fun to mold this stuff. Let's go ahead and throw the time lapse back in there because we have a lot of detail molding to do. I want to add in smaller waves. I want to build up more of the actual clay. Fingers crossed, this turns out. So let's go ahead and dive on in, guys, and see what we can do. All right, everybody, so we have more or less kind of a base smoothed out with a little bit of ripple effect here. And you can kind of see what I'm going for. I'm kind of having it leaning off to the side and somewhat kind of pitching back as if the wave is kind of lifting up the front nose. Again, I don't know if it's really going to come across like that, but that's my goal. So let's go ahead and pull off the aircraft itself, and you can kind of get a better look here at the actual wave pattern that I've designed. I actually think it looks pretty neat. Right now, of course, it just looks like sand, because, well, it's not blue and there's no resin here, so it just looks like sand. But you can kind of see that there's a lot of little dips and rises here, and I want even more though. So we're going to actually come back in and I'm going to create more waves. I don't think we have enough because the northern Pacific Ocean is choppy. So let's go ahead real quick. I'm going to add in some more waves. We'll be right back. All right, so I've added in a little bit more action. I've added more waves. I've added higher peaks, lower valleys. I've really tried to kind of spruce it up a little bit. So now we have to smooth everything out. I'm going to grab a hairdryer and we're going to go ahead and use heat and to smooth all of these rough patches out to make it look a little smoother, a little cleaner. Let's go ahead and give it a try, guys. All right, everybody, as you can see, the hairdryer worked perfectly and everything is nice and smooth, very clean. I like it. I think this is just enough chop in the water. I think we're good for tonight. So let's go ahead and call it quits for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Next episode, we are going to be trying our hardest to go ahead and create a silicone mold so we can create a reverse image of this exact base. A couple episodes after that, we can then pour in the resin, which I'm still trying to work out how to do, and we should be good. Fingers crossed, get this thing looking awesome. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you guys are having a good time with this. So we'll see you back here next week on another episode of the All at Sea group build for our A6M2-N roof. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you soon.